All right, welcome back to part 2 of the show, and I hope you're enjoying it. And now we go to the player scorecard. Let's take a look at the performance of our players in their respective club ahead of the friendly against Brazil. Let's start as usual with the defense line from the goalkeeping area, actually, where you have the three goalkeepers: Francis Izoho, Ikechukwu Ezenwa, and newcomer Emile Okoye Madoka. Ikechukwu is 30 years. He plays his club football at home with Heartland Football Club of Owerri. He has moved over from Katsina to Heartland, but the league is yet to start, so he has not tested action. He didn't test action in the month of September. But for Francis Izoho, who is just 20 years, out there in Cyprus, he has kept 2 games. He was in action for 180 minutes and he conceded 2 goals. Emile Okoye has conceded more goals. In fact, he conceded 10 goals, being in post for his club out there in Germany. 4 games, he had 360 minutes of action. The young man, who is just 20, conceded 10 goals. Oluchi?
Well, looking at the goalkeepers that we have, the consistency, you just see it with Francis Izoho. You know, since the last friendly match and a change of club that he has had, he's been trying to stamp his feet, you know, in the national team. Ikechukwu Ezenwa has not had opportunity. The league is not yet on, except for pre-season tournaments, and I do not think he has even played. But for Maduka, I really don't see the reason why he's in the Super Eagles setup. If he's actually 20, let us prove his mettle with the Olympic Eagles, you know, or the under-20 team, conceding 10 goals. Why can't we also give Alan Pass such opportunity if we know we are looking for young stars to build on? The national team is a setup where you have the best players, not people pursuing their bread like we normally say in our local parlance here. And I know that you want to look at the German angle, talking about our coach Genetro. So Maduka has, as far as I'm concerned, is very inexperienced and he has the heights. That's the positive for him. But I think he should start from the age grade teams.
Okay, let's put our fingers crossed and see if Genetro will reach Maduka in a big friendly like the one against Brazil. Well, away from the goalkeepers, let's take you to the defense line, the ones that will be giving cover to the goalkeepers. Let's start with Olaoluwa now. He's 22 years. He plays his club for Torino in Italy. 5 games he had for his club, 450 minutes of action. Then Abdullahi Shehu is making a return. He is 26. He plays for Bursaspor in Turkey. 4 games, 320 minutes of action, and he even scored a goal. And then you have Chidozie Mawazem of Legan in Spain, 22 years, 4 games, 301 minutes of action. Then William Trost-Ekong, 26 years, Udinese in Italy, 3 games and 270 minutes of action. Jamil Collins is 25 years. He plays in his club football in Germany. He has had 3 games, 270 minutes of action. Then we'll have Oluwasemilogo Ajayi, 25 years. He plays for West Brom in England, 3 games, 270 minutes of action. And interestingly, he has been a scoring defender. He has scored 2 goals for West Brom. Tony, that is how our players fared in the month of September, the defenders.
I think we are beginning to have a very solid, defenders. Defenders that will definitely cover up for the goalkeeper. Interestingly, is the fact that Abdullahi Shehu and Oluwasemilogo Ajayi, not only just being defenders, they are defenders that join attacks, as you can see, from Ajayi. Scoring 2 goals, a defender scoring 2 goals, and Shehu Abdullahi also accounting for a goal. I think that's very, very impressive, because most times, as we can see, even from the Champions League, even from, and Ramos comes into,
Sergio Ramos always
always scoring. And you see that there is no specific person, that is meant to score goals. Defenders are, coming out now to score goals, and that's exactly what our defenders here, the 2 of them, talk about Ajayi and talk about Abdullahi Shehu, have shown. And I think if they can do this well, and of course give appropriate cover, for the goalkeepers, George, we have very young team, and of course with a very good defense like this that joins attack, George, the sky will be our limit.
Okay, from the defense line, let's take you to the midfield. Let's tell you that the midfielders that are in focus are Alex Iwobi. He's 23. He moved from Arsenal to Everton. He has had 5 games for Everton, 358 minutes he played in the month of September, and he scored a goal. Then you talk about Anderson in the City. He's returning to the team. He plays his club football in Greece. He is 25. 2 games he had for his club, 151 minutes of action. And then Orenekaro Etebo, ever combative. He is with Stoke City of England, 23 years, 4 games he had, 251 minutes of action. And then Wilfred Ndidi of Leicester City, 22 years, 4 games, 347 minutes of action. Ndidi has scored a goal. And then you talk about Joseph Aribo, who made his debut in the game against Ukraine. He is slightly down with injury, but Kenodra said he will be fit for that game. He has played 4 games for his club, Rangers. Talk about Rangers of Scotland, 257 minutes of action. And then returnee Rahman Aziz, who plays for Grenada in Spain, 26 years he is, 4 games, 186 minutes of action, and he has scored 2 goals. Oluchida is a midfield.
Yeah, we had heartwarming performances by our midfielders in the month of September, and I must tell you that one of the best decisions Alex Iwobi has made, is moving from Arsenal to Everton. A lot of people felt it was a retrogressive movement, but he's proved a lot of people wrong. He's getting more games, 5 games, even scoring a goal, and it's good for his confidence. It's good too in the national team. He'll be able to express himself. Apart from a City that just had 2 games in the month of September, every one of them have been able to clock at least a minimum of 4 games in the month of September. I'm happy for Etebo. He even made the championship team of the week. That shows that he's very consistent, and by now I think he should be looking at moving away from the championship and playing in a more competitive league. Aribo has made himself to be known with his wonderful performance, and Raymond Aziz has come back to the national team. Who doesn't look your way if you can score a goal against Barcelona?
You said it was a simple tap-in.
But Yakubu Ayebeni too got such an opportunity and he fluffed it.
Okay, well, this now you can say we've explained the midfielders there. Then now let's go to the attack. Those that will be scoring goal against Brazil, hopefully. And let's start with the young man Victor Osimhen, who is 20. He plays for Lille in France. 5 games he had, 449 minutes of action. He has scored 2. He scored 2 goals in September and scored this October in the game against Chelsea in the UEFA Champions League. Moses Simon, 24 years, he plays for Nantes in France, 4 games, 344 minutes of action. Samuel Chukwueze, the Villarreal striker, 20 years he is, 4 games for Villarreal, 202 minutes of action, and a beautiful goal he scored in one of their La Liga games. And Emmanuel Dennis, we saw him for Club Brugge of Belgium, just 21, 4 games, 236 minutes of action, and he had 1 goal in September, and then scored 2 beautiful ones against Real Madrid in the Champions League at the Bernabeu. And then Peter Olayinka, 23, he plays for Slava Prague of Czech Republic. 5 games he had, 423 minutes of action, and he scored 2 goals in September. So that is the attack.
Beautiful stats for our forwards, and indeed I think the Brazilians themselves are beginning to get worried about the Nigerian attack. I just had them, talking about Victor Osimhen, who indeed, has been stunning performance. He has been somebody that causes a lot of headache, a lot of panic in the defense. He has the height, he has almost everything, gangling as he is, and of course he has the nose, the knack for goals, as he just gave us in the stats. He has accounted for 2 goals. But the beauty of it all, George, is the way he goes after defenders. He expects the ball, and of course there is always a very good combination when you have a midfielder who understands you very well. We could just see this in his club, and of course the young man has really been doing absolutely well. And so also you talked about Emmanuel Dennis. We just saw him against a big club like Real Madrid, even though they are going down, but then scoring 2 goals, George, no be panya goal, courtesy of you. But I think that we have it.
Okay, but a gentleman put together in all of this. Look at our players and the Brazilian squad that they release. Talk about Neymar, talk about Casemiro, look at the goalkeeper of Man City and all that. Do you think that our boys will be able to match the Brazilians? Superstars.
Yeah, we've had World Cup experiences. Most of these players, they play in the big league, and a lot of them, they want to make a name for themselves. A player like Chukwueze is a no-nonsense person. He wants to be given the freedom to useless any player that comes, you know, in front of him. Okay. So I think it's a great opportunity for players to show that they've got what it takes, you know, to play a big country like Brazil. Okay,
because Tony, this is really the test that the Super Eagles need, these young boys.
It's a great A-friendly. You know, the eyes of the world will be on it. And you talk about Brazil, the razzmatazz, the names of Brazil can scare even Goliath away from playing them. But George, I must tell you, in the game of football, George, once the whistle sounds,
anything can happen.
That is the time everybody just buckle up. And I must tell you that we equally have names. Victor Osimhen, from what he has done, has already sent sparks, you know, that, look, I'm not one to toy with. And so also, Oluchi talked about Samuel Chukwueze, Samuel Carlo. They have Jesus, and we have Moses, we have Samuel. These are very big names biblically. Okay. And you know that, you know, if we just combine all this with Emmanuel, you know, that Jesus is with us.
God
so
is
there
with
is
us.
nothing the Brazilians that they have that we don't have.
Okay. Let's put our fingers crossed. It's going to be a big one. We're going to face the Jesus of this world, the Neymars of this world, the Casemiro of this world. And then, like Tony said, we'll see what the Chukwuezes can equally do when the chips are done out there in Singapore. That game comes up, I think, 1:30 Nigerian time, actually, next Sunday in Singapore. It's going to be a testy one for the Eagles. Let's take another break now. When we come back, we'll be riding up the show. And I hope you are enjoying Sportsville. All right, welcome back. We're coasting home now, but as we do usually on the show, let's quickly give you the upcoming events, and let's tell you that from October 6 to 13, you're talking about the Shanghai Masters that will be coming up in China, and as the Shanghai Masters is ending, same October 13, you talk about the Japanese Grand Prix, and then October 9, all eyes will be in Egypt at the CAF headquarters, where the CAF Champions League draw will be taking place, as well as the CAF Confederations Cup draw. And in the CAF Confederations Cup draw, we'll be seeing who Enyimba and Rangers will be facing. Enyimba have dropped to the CAF Confederations Cup, and Rangers, our flag bearers in that tournament proper, defeated Pelican of Gabon 4-3 on aggregate to move into the next round. We wish the two Nigerian teams the very best of luck. That's it, upcoming events, and hope you follow it. We'll say thank you for coming, for being with us on the show today. But let's remind you that on a very sad note, Nigeria lost one of its promising stars. Talk about Isaac Promise. You remember him. He played so much for our youth team, graduated to the Super Eagles. He died suddenly in the United States of America. I think that's a very big loss for Nigerian football. Oluchi, Isaac Promise.
It's quite sad, you know, when you at the prime age of 31, you know, collapsing in the gym in his house. I'm sure it could be due to heart failure. We pray for courage for the family to bear the loss. You know, in the course of the week too, we also lost 2 players from the police machine team in Uyo. You know, after training, you know, a vehicle just came down the road, and you know, just young girls
hit
like that, and they just died.
Very painful, Tony.
Yeah, George, you know, you just say death, one death too many. You know, talked about the female players that died. That shows how reckless we can be in this country. In a country where nobody, you know, everybody can do anything and get away with it. And then you talk about Isaac Promise, a young man that had very promising career. Remember in 2008, he captained the Mikel Obi, and of course they confronted Lionel Messi, the young man who is the best player in the world. And we thought that a promising player like Isaac, that was the highlight of his career. But immediately after that, you know, somehow his career began to bounce, and, you know, until he just got to USA, while others were just rising. But unfortunately, death came this way. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen to that. Well, that's the show. Very sad indeed. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye and God bless.